Hi, Salam Alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here. Welcome. Let's slay some demons. Sisters and brothers, angel warriors, messengers of the covenant. There'll be a messenger of the covenant, and he would produce many messengers of the covenant, because that's what it's all about right now, the covenant. Everything circles around the Abrahamic covenant. They have this thing called Abrahamic Accords. Well, they can use the name if they want, but it's all about the Abrahamic covenant. Now, this all started pretty much as a family disagreement 50,000 years ago between Ishmael and Isaac. Ishmael had claims to the inheritance because he was Abraham's eldest son, but he wasn't the son blessed because he wasn't the son by Abraham's wife. He was the son by his maid. His maid was from the tribe of Hindus. But he laid claim anyway. And using the help of his Hindu tribe, his mother's tribe, he forced us out of, we were the tribe of Shabazz, he forced us out of Arabia, which is now called Arabia, or Saudi Arabia, into northern Africa, which is called Africa right now, where the tribe of Levites lived. He had 3 tribes at that point in time. Arabia, which was central. North of Arabia was Hindu Kush, India, that area, right? Afghanistan, all those areas. And south was what we call Africa. South of Arabia, the Levites. North of Arabia, the Hindus. So we was forced out. On the way out, we covered Arabia with sand. It wasn't a desert before. The proof of that is just the fact that all that oil is there. Because oil comes from decayed organic matter. And to have such abundance of oil there in Arabia shows that place had to be luscious with life, prolific with life. It had to be abundant life there for millions of years, because that's where oil comes from. And the same thing that produces oil also produces topsoil. And under that sand is yards and yards and yards of topsoil. And we put the sand in to protect it. But that's the best part of planet Earth. We didn't want to return, right, to a desert or to a barren land. So we covered it with sand. So it was a family dispute. Then it turned into a tribal dispute 35,000 years ago. See? Where the tribe of Hindu asserted itself, and it moved into Arabia. And broke the mathematical contact, you understand, a mathematical connection to the universe with this religion, Dr. Buddha. See, separated creation from the creator. See, so it turned a tribal dispute. Because by the time Prophet Muhammad came along, Arabia was overcome by Hinduism. They don't want to call it that, but it was polytheism. I mean, that's what it was. Hinduism, because they had moved into the area for thousands of years. So for 15,000 years, right, it was a family dispute. Then 35,000 years ago, turned to a tribal dispute. And then come along 6,000 years ago, Dr. Yakub. Now, where Dr. Yakub come from? See, Dr. Shabazz, tribe of Shabazz, we got kicked out, right? Then comes Dr. Buddha, 35,000 years ago. He makes a tribal dispute, see? Because by we are the creator, the tribe of Shabazz, they, the top tribe, the creator. He wanted to break our grip on the creation. So he established religion. Buddhism was the first religion. So in other words, separate the creator from the creation, take us off the mathematical standard into a belief matrix. And then then came along, right, Levites, Dr. Yakub, right, he's a Levite, and he made it into a racial dispute because he created a race. There wasn't races before. All of us are original, so wasn't anything such as a race. He started the idea of race because he created a new tribe that wasn't original. So now we had race because he had original and non-original. That's the idea of a race. Because he was angry because we being in Africa, northern part of Africa, right? Because that was their realm. But we was pushed there. But we were a superior tribe to them, and we started having more control over his area. I mean, I can understand his anger, his dispute, his reason. I can understand that because I mean that was his area. We didn't take it, right? But we was living peacefully with them, but we had more influence than them. See, which they didn't, because over time, right, 15,000 years to 6,000 years ago, what's that? That's 29,000 years, or 29,000 years, right? We had great influence because what was going on? Okay, let me go back to this genetic thing. See, Dr. Shabazz, he took us down there. He started genetic engineering, what they a lot of time called grafting. Today we call it genetic engineering, to take and make us as strong as possible because he could see down the line where this was going because we started suffering energy deprivation. See? And there was a lot of places in Africa was turned into deserts because plant was drying up. That's not what happened to Arabia now. We put the sand there. So you have to understand how you have to understand how genetics work. Like we have the idea that he took and made us have nappy hair and all that kind of stuff. No, that's not how genetics work. You can't give an attribute that wasn't all there anyway. You can emphasize that attribute because that's what Dr. Yakub did. He de-emphasized an attribute, but Dr. Shabazz emphasized an attribute because nappy hair and the features that we have in the really dark complexion, right? We was all dark at that time, but that was only the best, the best. That was a feature only the wisest, the God tribe, not the God tribe, but that part, the top parts, the most affluent, the scientists and that type of thing of the tribe. They was mostly, had those attributes. That was really scarce. Nappy hair and stuff, right? Because that was more dominant. Those are more dominant genes. Only a few had it. See, and we see a story in the book and about Jacob and Sue, because Jacob, the story is in there, because he took and he told his father-in-law, right? He was going to marry his father-in-law's daughter, right? And they had this dowry thing. So dowry was, right? So he said he would work for his father for 10 years, father-in-law for 10 years. And he said, and the only payment he wanted is that all his sheep, I may say this a little backwards, but you'll get the idea. All the spotted sheep, right, would be his. The father would give all the spotted sheep in that 10-year period. Now, the whole idea is spotted sheep was rare. Like if he had 1,000 sheep, maybe one would have spider, maybe one or two. So his father would say, man, that's a great, because this figure after 10 years, man, maybe 10, 20 be spider sheep, so it'd be, 1%, it wouldn't be a problem with him. But as soon as he made the agreement, Jacob went about genetic engineering, so that in the 10 years, all the sheep were spotted. See, so that's because that idea, see, all this science and everything you're talking about right now, it's in there. Genetic engineering is right in the scripture. I keep telling you, the science book, that genetic engineering is not anything new. It's right in the scripture. Read the story. See, so that's what he did. So that's what Dr. Shabazz did. He took and emphasized that, because he said it would make us all like the God family. That's what I should say, the God family within the tribe of the Shabazz. The best of the. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters. So the thing is that's what he did, emphasize it. And, because in other words, he would marry those that had those traits, right? With only those had those traits and those was close to it until eventually the whole tribe of Shabazz was like that. But it was also spreading all into Levites too. Levites were starting to get like that, and that's what pissed them off, because they didn't want to be transformed. They want to stay just like they were. Because you go into Africa and you see a lot of Levites, right? They look just like us. Because the actual Levites, right, they look more like the Somalians and the Ethiopians. Because they was more westward, more eastward. We was on the northwest coast of Africa. So it's pissed off. So he went on a bit of genetic engineering of his own, right? He took and created a race because he emphasized those qualities, right? Until he came up with someone that was stripped down version. See, wasn't black, understand, didn't have nappy hair, straight, whole 9 yards. So that's the beginning of race, 6,000 years ago. And then 500 years ago, right, they went on a race war. They initiated a race war. See, it was about race then, but they didn't initiate the race war the 500 years ago. When they came fleeing out of Europe, they started a race war against all the races. There's a whole lot of mathematics behind that and everything. That's how they got rich and powerful. Racism. Don't let anybody fool you. You understand? That's how racism is ideology that got them where they are. They're not going to give it up, because to give it up, that means they lose everything. They try to back off from it now. They try to tell you to back. No, race is how they got everything. When they came out of Europe, did they go and attack each other? Did they take each other's land? They was fleeing. They was fleeing tyranny, disease, famine, right? You name it. Poverty. They was fleeing that stuff. They bought all that stuff. They took all that stuff and imposed upon the world. They inflicted the world with that plague. The world wasn't in that situation. Slavery, all that kind of stuff. That they brought that with them. That's why Angel calls them the second death. The first death represents the Oriental nation. They call it second death. See? Because that's what they brought, death and destruction. And they don't want to talk about that. They're trying to back off from it. So we're going to talk about some of that here, but we're going to go from the point of the book of Daniel. Now, if you read chapter 20 of Angel, they don't want you to see, it said they would deceive the whole world. How did they deceive the whole world? But chapter 20 is the basis. It gives you the big hint, the chapter itself. Because they're trying to tell you that's the future, the millennia. And that happened in the past. That's Gog and Magog, America and Britain, bursting out of that region of the world with nothing but death and destruction in their wake. Slavery, murder, rape, prostitution, whatever, oppression, everything, tyranny. But they claim they're bringing freedom. Well, they claim that we was wild people. They said we was wild savages, right? Well, if that's true, running around in Africa chasing after lions, that means we were free, weren't we? We were really free, weren't we? So you boys into freedom? When you came over to the Native Americans over here, what was it? Weren't they free? They were the freest people you ever seen. They weren't tyrannies. They was free. They did what they wanted to do. So you bought slavery and oppression. You bought that. Then you talking about you freed the world. Free the world from what? You freed the world from freedom. That's what you did. Everywhere you found the people was free and healthy and happy and prosperous. Everywhere you went. Now give me on yourself. Tell me otherwise. From Africa to Australia to Canada, South America, no matter where you went, people was healthy, prosperous, happy, and free. And disease healthy again, disease free. You bought all that. And now you're going to talk about, oh, we're good people. Well, hey, the evidence is right here. Whose land are you slaying on? Whose land are you living on right now? Is that your land? How did we get over here? Did we come over on a visa? See? What happened to the people that owned this land before? Where are they at? Did you have them buried out there in the Midwest somewhere? So don't give us that bullshit. We know who you are. You and your false religion. Christianity is Satan's religion. That's why it says, Jesus said, know a tree by its works. Are those the works of Satan or the works of Prophet Jesus? Those works. Are you going to attribute all the stuff that you've done to a just God, to the Prophet Jesus? Because if you are, then what the hell do they have a problem with Satan for? Because these are the works of Satan, all of it. Murder, rape, biological warfare. You're the first one to commit biological warfare on the Native Americans. That's how you got rid of many millions of them. So you you preachers out there, we know who you are, you demons. And that's another thing I'm going to say, and then we'll move into this presentation. See, this demon war started 600 years ago. You see, because you got to understand, look up leprosy. Leprosy is a disease that turns you all white. See? And so black people in Africa, first down in Africa, right? North Africa, I mean, the Arabs and everything was just, kind of had some kind of contact, the Romans and stuff. But you go back into interior of Africa, these people never seen the white people. And white folks sure they thought it was lepers. They thought they was lepers, scared death of them. You go read check history. They thought they was evil because they was lepers. They thought they was afflicted by devils and things. That's what they called them, because they thought they thought they was leprous. Because that white to them, that was a disease. They never seen anything white before. See? And so they saw, and they were scared of them. They would kill them or just get away from them, run away from them. So they knew the only way they could get in there, because at that time, remember, they don't tell you the whole history. They was going over because Europe was in trouble. So they was going all over the place. They just coming out of the Dark Ages, right? See, just barely out, not fully, but they're going into China, they're going to Indonesia, they go all over the place, right? India, right? Looking for help. Looking for wealth, help, whatever. See, enlightenment. It's going all over. Marco Polo and those people. So how come they don't mention they was going to Africa too? They never mentioned they was going to Africa. Why leave it out? Because Africa was the richest of all those continents. Africa was the richest and the freest of all of them. So how come they don't mention going to Africa? Because they don't want you to know that they did go into Africa, but the first they had to do, they knew they couldn't go in there looking like they looked. See? So what they did was they started kidnapping black women, and they started taking and making their demons. And they said there are demons in there to soften up the neighborhood, confuse the people. That happened 600 years ago. And that war's been going on for 600 years. It says so bad here in America, it says 17 million of blacks in America are demons. And you better read your lesson again, because it said, well, 17 million original. Why is it exactly right now? Angel says half are demons. So if half are demons, only 17 million right now is original. And there wasn't 17 million black people in America back in 1920s, 1930s. So he wasn't talking about back there. He talking about right now. He letting you know. Another way of telling you, 17 million of us are demons. 17 million of us black, 17 million of the blacks are demons, and they're the ones causing all our problems. See, that house Negroes telling you, no, you got to listen to Master. We ain't going nowhere. We're gonna stay here. We're gonna make America work. You know, we gonna get reparations. You know, these are lying laws to us, right? We work. Did you hear that story? Where you hear that story at? You hear it out here amongst the so-called law found, and you hear it in the highest places. Like I said, we're not struggling. We're not fighting against flesh and blood. We're fighting against our struggles not against flesh and blood, but against evil men, right? And evil spirits in high places. See, that's demons. That's in high places. What? Farrakhan, he's in the highest place right now in the nation because he's sitting in the ruler's seat. Whether you believe in Elijah Muhammad or the Nation of Islam at all, right? Well, it doesn't matter if you believe it because that's the seat that God established. Remember, if you didn't care whether you believe in Moses or not, he was the one that was going to get things done. That's the seat. That's the seat that ancient days were set in. He's sitting in it. It says the man, a son of perdition was set in that seat for 40 years. Son of perdition was set in that seat for 40 years, declared himself above all gods right there. But so we don't need to argue about that. He said he's an evil spirit, which the angel calls evil spirit demons. And you didn't know what a demon was before I told you. And the angel explains what a demon is. You didn't know what a demon was. You thought it was some kind of mystical, something you couldn't see. He's sitting in that seat. He won't be sitting very much longer. Anyway, we're going to talk about Daniel, brothers and sisters. Oh, let's move on in. Now, I just want to mention this angel here, right? So it's telling you, this is a free gift. It's supposed to be a free gift. So nobody asked you for money. Nobody asked you for anything. Nobody asked you for a dime. And nor will anybody ever ask you for a dime. If we God said, why we need you to take care of us. See, that's Farrakhan them. They ask for money, but what they do with it? Are they producing anything? Are they giving anything back? Are they? Have they? They're doing Elijah Muhammad did. You gave him, you was gladly get, because you gave him, you got a lot back. What if you got back from Farrakhan except lip for 40 some years? What have he given you back? He constantly asks for money, right, for his economic program, and now he claims, now he's under fire. Well, I'm not about economic development. I'm about saving souls. He's full of shit. Because all that money's been doing is buying $500 glasses and pretty little dresses, right? That he don't dare lift up because he's most foul, his disemboweled ass. So it's a free gift, brothers and sisters, because you already paid the price. Abraham a covenant. You have a covenant with God. He's going to fulfill his covenant whether you like it or not. You have a covenant with God. He made it, but he's going to keep his side of it. You already kept your side. So we know you're in bad condition. We know that. Then we got ways to remedy that. We got all the soap and water. We need to remedy that. See, but these preachers out there, ain't enough of soap and water in this world going to clean them up. Like Elijah Muhammad said, he would not be in their shoes. Their shoes made of gold, silver, and diamonds. See, because their demons blocking this light, because the blood's on their hands. Because it says, my people are lost for the lack of knowledge. So who you think going to pay for that? Who you think is going to pay for that? Farrakhan and all these demon preachers out there. They're going to be popsicles in a few more days. In a few more days, we ain't talking about months anymore. A few more days, if you understand what a popsicle is, they're gonna make your own people gonna make popsicles out of you when they find out that you've been lying to them and taking their money and lying to them. See, and so it tells you right here, don't change any words, don't be starting stuff. So scripture's not corrupt. It's a warning for those who mess around and do that. Now there's bad translations. There's people try to corrupt it, but the point is the original scripture is not corrupt. We believe in scripture 100%, so we're not telling you that lie. Because Allah said he would perfect his light. So if you say in the corrupt, that means he's a lie. He couldn't perfect his light. I mean, he wrote all this prophecy for our guidance, and then he let some clown just destroy it. So okay, so I was getting this. So take a second. Take a second to absorb that, and then we can move right on into the presentation. Okay, brothers and sisters, we'll move right into the presentation. Let me check one thing out here real quick. Okay, change that. Okay, it's good. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go into excruciating detail because a lot about Daniel. I'm not going to, do a chapter by chapter like I do with the angel. I'm going to just highlights of Daniel. You can study it on your own, right? But to get familiar with Daniel, Daniel is it's very complicated. I mean, the angel is very complicated too, but Daniel is complicated in a different type of different sort of way, right? Very subtle stuff. Now, there's a lot of subtle stuff in the angel too, but angel has a certain structure to it. And it just is a coincidence that this PowerPoint 2 is perfect for angel, but it's not perfect for Daniel. Daniel coming from different, come from a different way, right? But Daniel and angel, they work together. See, because Daniel has 12 chapters. Angel has 22. But there's a 13th chapter, Daniel, where it's an angel. Because the 13th chapter of angel is the 13th chapter of Daniel also. Because this, what you see is lion, is bear. You found that in the angel, chapter 13 is the only place you find it. That's connection. There's a reason for that. I may touch on that a little bit here. Because there's so much, I mean, I'm trying to, there's a theory called keep it simple, called KISS theory, keep it simple, stupid, right? I like to change it, keep it simple, soldier, right? But the point is that we have to keep this because our people are still babes out there, right? They're still deaf. Not when they say Jesus healed the deaf, he didn't mean he dealt with spirits that just couldn't hear. They couldn't hear the truth. They was deaf to the truth because the truth, they don't hear it. It's right there in the scripture. They claim they believe the scripture, but they don't hear it. They're deaf and they're blind, right, to the vision. See, they're not blind to where they can't see with their eyes. They're blind here, right? Because that's also part of the scripture. Because the scripture teach you what's happening before it happens. You see, so they're deaf and blind, and that's what Suleiman has to bring them back, open their spiritual eye and spiritual ear. That's what it's talking about. They have to be made to hear the truth, hear the scripture. They're not hearing it now. They're hearing Farrakhan, his line preachers. And the scripture's right there. Exodus is right there. Only if they just follow that, if they just follow Exodus, you wouldn't go wrong. See? Then you got an angel. And the angel's telling you everything that identifies everybody, who everyone is. You can't find any place else. You know who the demons were. You know who the dragon were, right? You didn't know who the devils were. You know all that stuff. Boy, if you like Muhammad, you had idea what devils, but Farrakhan took that, snatched that away from you, right? The beast with the 7 heads and the 10 horns on the. You didn't have an idea what any of that stuff meant. Angel explains all. Explains who everyone is, who the golden calf is. You know who that is. You say, oh, the golden calf. Yeah, you got some crazy ideas. Angel will tell you exactly what that's all about. So it's different. So we're going to talk about it, and you'll see as we go along, those of you familiar with angel, it's a different type of way to look at things, right? But I'm going to give you stuff, enough information, right, so you can study it, some food for study. Okay, now in Daniel, right, they talk about this lion. Now, in Daniel, the lion represents us. An angel, the lion represents the tribe of Levites. See, an angel, lions, tribe of Levites, but in, but actually, we also represent as lion in there too. But it's a little subtle because remember it says the lion from the tribe of Judah. Talking about the lamb, the lion from the tribe of Judah. So we also, but it's not pronounced. It's not the lion they said when they talk the lion, the calf, the face of man, the eagle. They're not talking about that one. That lion is tribe. That's tribe of Levites. That's the African tribe. Elijah, read the scripture, Elijah wasn't Israel, he was a Levite. And the people, the Nation of Islam, the people he raised up, right, with him, they were Levites. See? So they're Africans, right? Because if you understand the angel, the tribe of Levi is broken into two parts. There was the one that stayed faithful to Joshua, stayed allied with Joshua, and there was the other tribe, right, that went with the Hindu tribe, right? See? And then the tribe of death was another tribe. I'm not sure we're going to hear, because that's the one, the Mongols. I think those you familiar with what I'm talking about. Anyway, so they talk about this lion and said this lion, he had been living a least beast life. That's us. And he had this eagle on him. Eagle had two wings. See, and we know from the angel, eagle represents America and Britain, right? The eagle itself, right, represents false Israel, but its two wings represents Gog and Magog, or America and Britain. And it says the eagle was on the lion. It controls the lion. So the lion has a beast heart. See, I'm not going into all the details about that, but it says the eagle had to be plucked off the lion, plucked off. His wings had to be plucked off. See, that's what's about to happen. American Britain is about, because they got us under control, right? But the covenant's kicked in. The covenant will kick in 2020, because with 1619 to 2019 would be the plague of foreign, would be the plague of persecution and obliteration, because slavery was just a part of what we went through. But that will last 40 years, from 1619 to 2019. And 2020 will be a plague that would kill the firstborn. See, which is elderly. So now, it's now time. Now is the fulfillment. God has fulfilled his part. We fulfilled our part in spades. 1619, 2019, we still here. So now, we have this. Now, that's why Elijah came to remind you. But Suleiman, he's the messenger of the covenant, right? To seal this thing up. And Farad is the enforcer. So that's why they're going into motion now. The action. Right, so so-called UFOs and all that stuff now, it's bugging them, because it's checking all their nuclear sites, all their submarines. They say, and they're trying to say, well, maybe from Russia, maybe from China. Now, that's so much bullshit, because they said, well, they ain't out of space, because they're setting this thing up, not going to it. But if China and Russia had that technology, they would have took out America a long time ago. If America had technology, they took Russia a long time ago. If they had that technology, they could just wipe their Air Force, everything out. Come on. Anyway, so he plucked off. And then the lion was made stamp and given a human heart, human mind. That's what's in the process happening now. See, because your mind's been taken away from you. See, you've been given enemy's mind. That's why you're working against yourself. If you operate on your enemy's mind, it means you're going to work against yourself, because you operate for the enemy. You create an enemy's vision. Enemy's vision is the vision for your destruction. Remember, the enemy's vision, by definition, is a vision that means your destruction, because it's not your vision, his vision. So you help him build his vision, that means you help him destroy yourself, because that's what you're doing. You are here helping build their vision, right? Because Elijah Muhammad came and was trying to get you started on, he got you in neutral, so you start developing your own vision, right? And they didn't like that, they got nervous, so when he left, they got the Farrakhan, and they got rid of that vision, because we ain't going nowhere. He not behind the Abrahamic covenant. So this in there, so that's what that's talking about. Then you got this bear. We're going to talk about this bear in a minute, right? But this is what that's talking about right there. So America's, when they talk about wings means democracy. We'll see that. It's a little subtle thing. Wing means democracy. So that means they were on us, they had control of us, and as long as they had control of us, we had a beast heart. But once it was plucked off, our mind was given back to us. Same story you see in Mark, where once the demons were removed, right, he got his mind back. That's what that's talking about. Okay. So, and again.
Oh yeah, here's the video. This is the Russian choir in St. Petersburg.
Dear brothers and sisters, sleep tired toys, Negroes sleep quietly. What is that about? Why did they talk about Negroes? The target is you, brothers and sisters. I'm talking about Italians, I'm talking about Chinese, I'm talking about Asians. They mentioned specifically Negroes in America. Wake up, brothers and sisters. Time to wake up. Yeah, what was that about? You got enemies everywhere. Here's these Russians talking about why they mention Negroes in America. Because they come to get you too. See? They know who you are. Everybody knows who you are. They made an agreement. They wasn't particularly around when the agreement was made with Abraham, right? But they know about it. Because right there in the Bible was given to them. The sealed Bible was given to them. It tells you in the Quran that was the Bible that was given them, giving Adam to rule his kingdom of shedding mischief and shed blood. It was a sealed Bible until this unsealed Bible, right? Because the Bible would be unsealed by the Lamb. You break the seals, right? And it would blow away, obliterate, right? But all this stuff, like I said, all this stuff, rape, slavery, oppression, capitalism, all that stuff is in the sealed Bible. That was their guidance. See? So let's talk about the statue.
You, O king, were watching, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose splendor was excellent, stood before you, and its form was awesome. This image's head was of fine gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. You watched while a stone was cut out without hands, which struck the image on its feet of iron and clay, and broke them in pieces. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were crushed together, and became like chaff from the summer threshing floors. The wind carried them away so that no trace of them was found. And the stone that struck the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth.
Okay, brothers and sisters, let's talk about the statue. Now, Daniel has his own key. Like Andrew has his key, but Daniel has his own key. And it has several keys. The statue is one of the main ones. So it's talking about these gold, silver, bronze, right? And they're talking about this stone. Now, we're going to talk about this. We're going to hit on this a little bit. It says stone was carved without hands. Now, when you read the statue, read the structure, the statue here, right? You see it has has feet, has arms, has legs, head, breast, thighs. It doesn't have any hands. That's the subtle part because the stone cut out the mountain without hands. The mountain is the statue itself. And it's cut out the gold part because we're the gold part because gold part of the statue is us. Gold in the angel and in Daniel represents original people, right? Or the Islamic people, right? So that's another thing they mess up. They think, well, it cut out with our hands. That means must be God doing it. Would God don't have any hands? Then it's changed. The human hands. I mean, they're playing games. That's why I said in the beginning, you start switching these words around, stuff you can be in trouble. But then it says, man, this stone is going to wipe out, right? All this rest of, Everything else of the statue, don't get rid of the whole statue. Blue stone coming out, blue piece of stone that gold, right? It's going to wipe out all the rest of the statue. The statue represents all the nations. Okay, so, but it's talking about gold, silver, brass, and iron. And we're going to see in the statue, why are you talking about those four in no particular order? Because gold and silver is precious metal, but bronze and iron, they're not. But they fools gold and fools silver. Because bronze, if you polish it up, you can make people think it's gold, right? You might fool somebody. And same thing with iron, because you got silverware, but it's not made of silver, it's made of iron. So it's saying you got somebody that's pretending to be gold, and you got somebody pretending to be silver. That's what it's talking about. So that's talking about false Israel who pretend to be us. That's who the bronze represent. And iron represents the Europeans, right? Who for a long time they told us they was the really Egyptians, they was the Carthaginians, they was Hannibal. They told us that all that stuff in Africa, they claimed that they was claiming that was them. They built all that stuff. So here's the statue. See, gold. That's the first Nebuchadnezzar. That would be that first kingdom. This kingdom covers the whole earth. Now, any kingdom you know would cover the whole earth. Way back in no, that's because we rule the whole planet, right? Then the silver, that's the Levite tribe, right? They came into power after, we was pushed down out of Arabia, right? Then you got the brass. Here's the brass here, right? That's the one pretending to be the gold. That's false Israel. This is Yakub's time now. And this is the iron that's pretending to be the silver. This is European countries. And then you got the toes down here. It says 10 toes. But 2 of the toes, see, it says toes are mixed with clay and iron. But see, the point is only 2. So they think things like it's all mixed together. No. It's mixed together in the sense that the 2 big toes here are iron. The rest of it is clay. So 2 iron right here, that represents the last 2 kingdoms. Gog and Magog, America and Britain. 2 world empires. Only 2 world empires that you know of in human history has been Britain, the only one that covers the whole world, and America. That's the 2. That's also the ram we're going to talk about. See? And then you got the clay, right, which represents China and India. So we're going to talk about that. So that's the statue. So I put some color on it, right? See, because you have the 2 legs, that's 2 divisions in Europe. This corresponds to what it says in Israel. You got 2 divisions in Europe. You got Eastern Europe and Western Europe. Russia represents Eastern Europe. The so-called EU represents Western Europe, right? And then you got down here, I think there may be an error here, if I'm corrected. But, and then you got, see, because they're going to talk about this eagle, they're going to talk about this leopard. But if you notice, when they talk about the eagle, they talk about 2 wings of the eagle, and they talk about 8 parts of the leopard. They only talk about 8 parts of the leopard. The 4 heads and the 4 wings, and on the eagle, they talk about the 2 wings. That's 10. So the eagle represents America and Britain. The two wings, because the wings represents democracy. So they have democracies. But the leopard, yellow with brown spots. That's China and India, yellow with brown spots, right? And there's 4 wings and 4 heads. The 4 wings represent, so one of them be democracy. India's democracy, but China is authoritarian heads. And the reason why it's 4 and 4, because they're almost 4 times as more populous than everybody else are. That's what it's talking about. So again, I just explained about the leopard, right? Yellow with brown spots. See, that's China, India. That also represents in the India, right? China, India, because also yellow with brown spots, yellow and brown. See? So here's the eagle again, right? So those 2 together, they make up the 10 toes. And that's the kingdom, right, that the blue stone is going to crush. Because right now, they're the major kingdom in the world. They control the world right now, right? America, Britain, European countries, right? And China and India. They're superpowers. See, and it said, but they're going to be crushed. He said, during that kingdom. So right now, that's it. because that wasn't in place 100 years ago. Wasn't in place 200 years ago. But it's in place now. That means that's what that little stone, that gold stone is going to crush. See? So it's going to crush and then fill the whole world. So here's the two together. That's 10. 4 heads, 4 wings, 2 wings, right? All together, that's 10. That's 10 toes. So I'm showing it again. So okay, there's an error here. China. Yeah, have it backwards, right? The heads should be where the wings are. Wings should be where the heads. I'm not going to change it here. I got it backwards, right? Then I got the two main toes, America and Britain. But I got the heads over here where on India, where it should be over where China is. So I had it backwards. Okay? So bear with me on that. And again, notice the statue doesn't have any hands. If you read the statue, it says everything but hands. That means that's the mountain that the stone's cut out of. Stone cut out of mountain without hands. So again, I showed the eagle. I showed the leopard there, right? Just got the heads on the wrong side. So, and that's what happens. See, the stone is cut out and destroys them, crushes them. See, that's Suleiman, his elect. See, gonna crush those powers will take them out of existence. They're gonna go and cover the whole world. That stone will crush them. Okay, because they forming. It says the angel they was forming together to make war against God. Farad and the Lamb. It says these will make war with the Lamb, but the Lamb will overcome them. See. Okay, we're going to talk about the little horn here. There's a little horn that come up amongst the 10. So there's a little horn that will come up amongst them and will take down 3 of them. And they get it all messed up. See, the little horn that come up amongst them, that's Africa. That's that little horn represents the bear, right? It's going to come up amongst the 10 down there at the bottom, right? And pluck up 3. Now, what do you mean to pluck up 3? Okay, to understand that, we have the story about the goat and the ram. The ram has 2 horns and the goat has 1 horn. The goat has 2 horns and the ram has 1 horn. That's 3 horns together. But who does the goat represent? The goat represents America and Britain. These 2 horns represent America and Britain. See, that's how I put these things together. But the goat's horn represents the whole leopard. The goat horn represents the whole leopard. See? So the goat represents, right? The goat horns represent, because it says, at the end it says, the horn was broken up to 4 parts of the 4 winds of heaven. To eight things it's talking about. 4 parts of the 4 winds of heaven. That's 8. I told you, that is very subtle. Because at the end the horn was broken up, that means it's broken up to 8 conditions. So, and that's what that is, right? So that's what it's trying to tell you. So the goat represents, and we're going to see that later, the goat represents China, the leopard, or China and India, right? That horn, right? And the horn, the 2 horns of the ram represents America and Britain. And it says it had 2 horns. It said the greater horn kept last. So yeah, Britain was a world power, but America succeeded and became even more powerful. Okay. So it said there was another little horn kept amongst them. See, that's the bear, and we'll see that in a minute. What that means. See, and plucked up 3. That means this bear, right? It takes and was able to overcome all 3 of them. See, you see it say, oh, the stone. I thought it said stone's going to get rid of all of that, but it says this bear was able to break the power of. See, it didn't crush him. It broke the power, right? Of plucked up 2 by the roots. It's up break the power of America, Britain, and China. See, this bear is very subtle. See, this bear, like I said, there's a person in there that they do a lot of stuff to cover up who this person is. He's also Belshazzar. I'm not going into all that. But this bear, that's that little horn. When you say pluck up 3 by the roots, they think they pluck up 3 of the 10. No, you got to look at the 3 horns. They talk the 2 horns of the ram, and because remember the ram and the goat they get into it with each other. So he's able to pluck them up. So he's responsible for doing that because it says that. So because you look at it, because it says the goat took down the ram. See, so he's somehow involved in that.
In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head while on his bed. Then he wrote down the dream, telling the main facts. Daniel spoke, saying, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, each different from the other. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I watched till its wings were plucked off, and it was lifted up from the earth and made to stand on 2 feet like a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And suddenly another beast, a second, like a bear, it was raised up on one side, and had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. And they said thus to it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I looked, and there was another, like a leopard, which had on its back 4 wings of a bird. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, exceedingly strong. It had huge iron teeth. It was devouring, breaking in pieces, and trampling the residue with its feet. It was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I was considering the horns, and there was another horn, a little one, coming up among them, before whom 3 of the first horns were plucked out by the roots. And there, in this horn, were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking pompous words.
Okay, I'm going to pack this a little bit. To study, I'm not hitting all the points here. But it's talking about 4 beasts. Now we say that lion, remember, he was lifted up from the earth. So earth represents the European country. And we gone. We getting out of here. Lifted up from the earth. Because right now we're on the earth. Earth represents European countries. We here say lifted up. So that's being delivered from here, right? Michael delivers us, Farad delivers us. He made stand upon his feet, so now we back home, right? In our land. But it said there was 4, and it says that it says I saw another beast, second like a bear, right? And it was different, right? And another beast like a bear was raised up one side and mouth, and it said, "Rise up," and there was no like leopard, right? Okay. Now this 4th one, when it goes to this 4th, it says it was different from the other beasts. What does that mean by that? Because the first beast, right? The first one they talk about, right, was like a lion. That's that, right? And then the 3rd one was like a leopard, right? So in other words, you got 2 cats, a lion and a cat. So what was different? The bear, because he wasn't a cat. The 4th one is the bear. It's not different. It's 4th one is the bear, but the 4th one is a comprehensive. It's like controlling all the other ones. This gets a little complicated. I'm not going into it too much here, brothers and sisters, because actually this stuff can get really involved. But you understand the 4th one, they say he was different. It says, I saw night vision. The 4th beast, reverend, terrible. See, he had huge teeth, and it was vile, trampling, and feet, and it was different from the other beast that was before it. It was different because he was a bear. That's talking about right here, the bear. Right? And it said he had his mouth 3 ribs. That's the three horns that plucked it by the root. Devour much flesh. See, so this one here is going to cause a lot of death and destruction. See, and we talk about that, and I talk about that. The reason I'm talking about this kind of now, because I talk about that when I was talking about chapter 17, about the one that was the 8th, but of the 7th, all that kind of stuff. That person, see, because he says he's going to be along with the other beasts. So I'm not going to go too much detail. I'm just giving some highlights here, brothers and sisters. So for you to study, so I'm giving you enough stuff so you can go and you can study without tripping over a lot of stuff. So here you go. Here's the leopard. Remember, he's the second one, but he was different from these two. That's what it means. He's the fourth one. He's dangerous because it's hard to figure out who this one is. See, only time they mention him as a bear is in the 13th chapter, 13th chapter of Angel. Okay, so here you go. Here you go to the leopard, right? That's China, India. You got American Britain, that's the eagle. And you got this blue horn that comes up amongst them, right? See? So who can, and, well, let me cut the chase here. See, this bear represents Obama. See? And he came up because, remember, he came up amongst America and Britain. I mean, he's African, but he was had control of America for a while, right? He was affecting China and India. There's only African ever done that. So he came up amongst it. He wasn't supposed to do that. See, so I'm gonna give you a little hit there. See, so okay, 10 toes. Now, like I said, here's the 10 toes again. Remember, I got the heads on the wrong side. The heads should be on the over because heads represent authoritarian. That's China, and wings represent democracy, right? There's just 10 toes talking about here, and 2 big toes, American Britain. Okay, again, that's the 10 toes, and the horn that comes amongst them. See, that's the bear. That's the lion. He's the one that rides on the white horse in the first seal and the angel. The ram and the goat. Who's the ram and the goat? Did I mention that earlier? Here's the goat. Now the goat, it says the goat, right? He had one horn. The horn represents China, India. It says it's going to attack the ram. It says it was angry. It got really angry, right? But it was coming from the west. And it says feet did not touch ground. And it was coming at that ram to get it. He was angry. The ram was coming to destroy him. It's coming from the west, but his feet does not touch ground. It means coming over the ocean. That means coming over the Pacific Ocean. Where the ram is, where's ram in America? America represents both America and Britain, but he's coming across because that's where America came out of, Britain, right? Adam and Eve. But he's coming, his feet does not touch ground, but he's very angry. Isn't China getting very angry right now? Is it getting very angry at America? And it's over in the west, right? And it says his feet will not touch ground, means come over the Pacific Ocean. And it's coming after the ram. The ram got 2 horns, America and Britain. See? And it's coming, it's very angry, it's coming very strong force. It's moving fast. It's going to hit the ram with such kinetic force, it's going to knock the ram down and stump him into the ground. That's what's about to happen, brothers and sisters. But first, the war in the Middle East. After that happens, then America's getting a war with China and India. They're already planning for war with China. I mean, I've been saying this for 30 years. All of a sudden, you never knew this before. Now it's they actually talking about war with China, a nuclear war. You pay attention to news, Google it. Don't take my word for it, Google it. They actually talk about a nuclear war with China. They talk about India, but India they think India's on their side. But remember, they started a race war. And they think these people love them. Now the nations are rising up, and they've done everything, every nation on the planet. They did all kinds of things to India, all kinds of things to China. Now these people, they think Japan's on their side. When America goes to war, they're going to have any friends at all. Not even Europe, Western Europe, the EU, is going to turn against them too. They're going to fight against Russia and Germany and France. They're going to have no friends because everybody hates them. And when they see their foot slip, everybody's going to turn on them. Everybody. They're not going to have any allies. But that's what this story is about. So it's coming after this ram. This ram is here sitting on America. Because the ram, nobody could do nothing to the ram. Ram was powerful and it could do what it wanted and nobody could do anything with it. That's what it says. The ram was so powerful that nobody could do anything with it. It did what he wanted to do. That's American Britain. But said this ghost said, the hell with that. He was angry. So he said, I'm going to go and kick his ass. And that's what he does. America going to be invaded. See? This year, before this year is out, Come in, invade it. See? That's what it says. It says, these 10 horns will hate, that's the angel horns, different than Daniel ones. They will hate the whore, make her desolate. That means they're going to defeat her, right? Eat her flesh, will take all their healthy people into slavery, burn it down with fire, take everything of value out of America. That's what's about to happen, brothers and sisters. So you want those 6 states, Farrakhan? You know, Negroes, you ain't going nowhere, okay? You're going to be right here during the tribulation when this happens. Because you won't listen. I'm trying to tell you. And you listen to these preachers out there, that means some of you going through tribulation because you could have been delivered. Didn't cost you anything. I didn't ask you for a dime. You had to pay anything. All you had to do is get back on time with the Abrahamic covenant. Get back to your God. Right? But you don't want that. You already paid the price. So why would you die? Why would you suffer? You already paid the price. Nobody's asked you for anything. They're just telling you get ready to get home. Pack. Let's go. Nobody's asked you for anything. I didn't ask you for a dime and never will ask you for a dime. I didn't ask you, I'm not even telling you to do anything. I'm just telling you to get ready to go home. So ain't nobody telling you anything, nobody trying to dictate you, nobody's trying to take anything from you, nobody's trying to tell you what to do or anything. Just telling you to pack up, let's go home, brothers and sisters. That's all we doing. So there it comes. That's it. He's going to attack them and take them down. That's happening in America. Takes them down. Takes them down. You going to be here when that happens, brothers and sisters? You plan to be in here? That's tribulation period. They're going to war. They're telling you, they're going to war, they're preparing for war with China. They're threatening a nuclear war. And now, pretend for 30 years, now you see it. Then you see it 10 years ago. And then the bear. Let's get back to the bear again. There's the bear. Top there represents original people. I have it as a nation of Islam. For all practical purposes, we leave it like that, but it represents original people. Right? Nation of Islam is grafted in. Okay. Remember, the bear represents Africa. And Obama's going to be leading Africa. He's that beast in chapter 17, right? The 8 below the 7. Africa's about to be broken up into 2 parts, right? Going to be 2 federations, Islamic Federation and non-Islamic Federation. Obama's going to lead the non-Islamic Federation, and he's going to be with China and India when they attack America. So that's how he says he's going to pluck up 3 Badus. So he's going to be with them. We take those 2, pluck those 2 up. Let me pluck 3. But then after he's with them to go to war again and knock out America and Britain, then they don't get to fighting amongst themselves. And he said he's going to overcome them. Africa's going to win out against China and India. And he's going to lead the last war against his last battle. Because War of Armageddon is a race war. War of Armageddon, I say it again, is a race war. Was started by Dr. Yaqub 6,000 years ago and really went into action 500 years ago when they actually, bam, they declared race war on the whole world. Europeans declared race war on the whole world. That's what War of Armageddon is all about. And finally, once we're back home and safe, this world's been raging with war. That's why I'm talking about this beast had all this power, that bear. The whole world will be World War, you might call it World War IV. Whole world is going to be in war. But we're going to be at home, right, protected by Farad from the air, right, and guided by Suleiman, right, a great army. A lot of people will still be over here in tribulation, but they'll be delivered after tribulation, right, and we'll be there. And once we're there, and Obama has finally wrestled all the nation under his control. So it says, because it said he went for a conqueror and a conqueror. He had 2 conquests to make. He already did one, President of the United States. So the second one, and so once he's done that, then he said, I got the whole world under control. Now I'm going to go after the people in the Middle East. I'm going to go hit Farad. Because the controversy is between Lucifer and Michael. And whether you like or not, that's who Obama is. Lucifer said, I'll make my throne on the sides of the north. That's what he did, became president of the United States. That's the final battle. There he is. Lucifer. Lucifer and Satan is not the same person. Lucifer is an archangel. Satan is not an archangel. Lucifer and Michael, archangel, they're rivals. But Lucifer thought that he, right? Because remember, he's from the tribe of Shabbat. He's from the tribe of Levites. See, but Michael, Farai, he's from the tribe of Shabbat. And remember, those two tribes are vying for who's going to be the God after all is over with. See, we already paid the price, so we had the best part of the planet Earth. But see, they trying to, since we down and out, we that little stone, we down and out, we all crushed. They think, no, we should be a top tribe. Mike, Lucifer said, we should be a top tribe. See? So that's the war. See? Because the final war is not between the devils. Devil, they gone. It ain't nothing to take them out. It ain't nothing to take them out. The final battle, remember, it started out, right, as a family thing. The final battle between these two tribes. See? But just before that, remember, it's a family thing because we're going back our family again. Ishmael and I getting ready to go at it. Because, as I said, Joshua, when he goes back to the promised land, he got to fight his way, take it back. Because Pharaoh is just going to take and knock out the principalities, the king, all that stuff. But the people are still going to be there. And they ain't give up that land. So Joshua had to go and take it. That's a family war again. See, taking back what they took from Ishmael, took from us, we taking it back. See? But that time, right, remember we had the race war. We already knocked out the race war. See, right back to where we started. We started out right. Family war, tribal war, then a race war. Race war is the first, knocked it out. Then it comes a family war. See, race war is part of the demons. They went to deceive us, trick us, the espionage, spies and carrying on. So they're gone. There's a family thing again, because we got to take our land back from Ishmael. Then there comes a tribal thing between Lucifer, right, the tribe of Levite, and the tribe of Shabazz. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to make it plain for you. See, that's who he is. See, they really do a lot of go overtime trying to keep his identity secret. So here we go again. See, the bear and the leopards roaming America. They got rid of Ram. They got control of America. That's a Chinese manifesto anyway, saying, hey, you understand, America belongs to us anyway, because they said the original Indians was from China. So that's another story. Anyway, they took over America. They're going to burn it down. They're going to take everything of value. They take all the healthy body people. They're going to take them as slaves. They're never going to return. And then they're going to burn the place down. That's what Malachi tell you too. America's going to burn. They're going to burn it down. Not destroy it, but to purify it. This place is totally foul, filthy. It's going to be burned for years because it's going to purify this place. See? So you want to be here when that happens? There it is. They set it on fire. Purify it. See? Because that's what God was. God's using them. Pharaoh's using them to do his will. That's what it says in chapter 17. So he put in his mind to do it. They're doing his will. Now we got to talk about this tree. Now, remember, silver, you have false silver, which is iron. You have false gold, which is brass. Now you got this tree. The tree represents us. The tree was cut down without hands. What does that mean? See, no, the tree was cut down with hands. So, no, see, the hands not part of this structure. Who are the hands represent here? That's Ishmael. They cut us down. See, because the statue, he's not part of the statue. So it's that hands was what cut the tree down. See, because it's not part of the statue, not part of those nations, right? So the hand, so that's Ishmael. They cut us down. See, and they cut us down, we was bound by a band of bronze and iron that represents the false Israel and the Europeans. Those the ones that enslaved us. They tried like their hands was clean, you know. False Israel and those, their hands was clean. They had nothing to do with this bullshit. It tells you right there. They were right part of it. They the ones that financed the slave ships. Come over here. They trying to show their hands clean. Angel, the angel tells you everything. Daniel and together tells you everything. Tells you that they both of them was equally responsible in our torment and our destruction, our enslavement. False Israel and America, Europeans. See, that's what it was cut down by Ishmael. See, now we're not enemies. I keep telling you, you got to understand your enemies. Cut down by Ishmael to a stump. That's because they betrayed us, and then we was enslaved. Remember, they threw us into Ishmael threw us into a well, right? And then Egyptian got us. They betrayed us. That's what's talked about. See, so they was bound. So it was cut down, then bound. Okay, let's get to the lion. Back lion again. Remember I said the lion? It says eagle wings they plucked off. That means America plucked off, and then the lion was made to stand upon his, lift up from the earth. It means we were taken out of here. We back in home and made stand on our feet. And we took. Now I remember we got once we get out of here, then we got to take land back. So once we take land back, we stay on our feet, and our heart was given back to us. Right, our mind was restored back to us. So now we're restored. We're not here in America anymore. Right, we're back now. We're back over in the Middle East. Right, with our own mind, and now we're taking our land back. Because we just been over there, don't mean we have a land back. Now so that's what that's talking about. And the mouth. They tell about this mouth. Who is this mouth? See, this mouth is Farrakhan, son of perdition. See, it says this horn-headed mouth. When Farrakhan was worshiping him. See, he's the mouth. See, that's him. See, he was worshiping him. It says those would worship him whose name is not in the Lamb's Book of Life. It says chapter 17, because he's a demon. Farrakhan a demon. He can talk all his crap he wants to. His father's the devil. He admits it, but now he's trying to cover it. He's Jamaican. Jamaica is not his ethnic background, right? His nationality. Like we can say we're Americans, but that's not our ethnicity. That's just our national, because that's because we live here. So we can call ourselves Americans. I don't call myself American, but we can call ourselves, that's nationality. The ethnic background, because you got Chinese living here, right? That's their ethnic, right? But their nationality is American if they're born here and accept citizenship. So his father was Jamaican. Yeah, that was his nationality because his father was living in Jamaica. But his ethnicity was Caucasian. That's why he raised his mother. His father raped, his father just like him. He black father's son. His father was a rapist. He raped his mother, his black mother. That's why she tried to abort him 3 times. See? And now he's raping the Nation of Islam. Like father, like son. See, here you go.
Going to use to bring about universal change. And that is why Barack has captured the youth. And he has involved young people in a political process that they didn't care anything about. That's a sign. When the Messiah speaks, the youth will hear.
See there? He's worshiping him. He's got all the Nation of Islam worshiping him. Because they're all demons over there. Chapter 17, if you understand, it says, those who worship him, that beast, he was the 8th, but of the 7. That's Obama. I explained that. I talk about chapter 20, chapter 17. And Farrakhan calls him anointed. The Messiah. I thought you was the Messiah, Farrakhan. He's worshiping him. He's got all these demons over there worshiping too. But it's just, this is not advanced stuff. But hey, you're deaf. If you're deaf, you can't hear. If you're deaf, you just can't hear, no matter how loud the sound is. So therefore, no matter how much the truth is, you still ain't hearing it because you're not hearing scripture. That's why we got to make you hear scripture. Somebody's got to make you hear scripture.
Therefore at that time certain Chaldeans came forward and accused the Jews. They spoke and said to King Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, flute, harp, lyre, and psaltery, in symphony with all kinds of music, shall fall down and worship the gold image, and whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not paid due regard to you. They do not serve your gods or worship the gold image which you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in rage and fury, gave the command to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spoke, saying to them, Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the gold image which I have set up? Now if you are ready at the time you hear the sound of the horn, flute, harp, lyre, and psaltery, in symphony with all kinds of music, and you fall down and worship the image which I have made, good. But if you do not worship, you shall be cast immediately into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is the God who will deliver you from my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If that is the case, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us from your hand, O king. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we do not serve your gods, nor will we worship the gold image which you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar was full of fury, and the expression on his face changed toward Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He spoke and commanded that they heat the furnace 7 times more than it was usually heated. And he commanded certain mighty men of valor who were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their trousers, their turbans, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's command was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished, and he rose in haste and spoke, saying to his counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said to the king, True, O king. Look, he answered, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Then Nebuchadnezzar went near the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spoke, saying, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, and come here. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came from the midst of the fire. And the satraps, administrators, governors, and the king's counselors gathered together, and they saw these men on whose bodies the fire had no power, the hair of their head was not singed nor were their garments affected, and the smell of fire was not on them. Nebuchadnezzar spoke, saying, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him, and they have frustrated the king's word, and yielded their bodies, that they should not serve nor worship any god except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that any people, nation, or language which speaks anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made an ash heap, because there is no other God who can deliver like this.
Okay, brothers and sisters, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to deal with some of it. First, they talk about they refuse to worship his image of gold. Now, some of you think that there's this like statue of gold. That no, image of gold. Remember, we talking about what brass is a bronze is an image of gold, right? It's pretend to be gold. It's an image. Like you have an image of yourself. A picture could be an image of you. It means that type of image. So they refuse. We say they refuse. They refuse, right, to submit, right, to false Israel. That's what they're talking about. See, that was them to go. They refused to worship. That's talking about the 666 thing. They refused to do it. So they were throwing the flame. So that America is the furnace. But when this happened, right, this is when the Fort Winslow and everything, it says the Chaldeans, because Chaldeans, we're in the land of Chaldeans, that means Chaldeans are the Caucasians. It says the strong men that were sent to destroy us, they were destroyed in the process. That's the four winds blow. They were destroyed instead. See? And nothing happened to those that was in the furnace, that was with, because it says there was a fourth one in the furnace. So who's the fourth one? You listen to these stupid preachers and everything. Well, that must have been Jesus. Well, what was Daniel at then? You mean Daniel? Because remember, Nebuchadnezzar is supposed to have control of the whole world, right? That's the claim. So so they said Daniel was out of town. No, the fourth one is Daniel, because Daniel is Joshua. Daniel is Belshazzar. Daniel is Suleiman. He's all of those. He's Joseph. See, so that's why I say come in the volume of the books. So he says he was. So they was protected. He's the Ancient of Days, because they're all in the furnace. That means we're still in America when this happens. When you see the Ancient of Days, it says throne with fiery flames come out, that means we're still in the furnace. And Nebuchadnezzar is a fake Nebuchadnezzar. He's not the real, because remember, he's representing false Israel, so he's an image of the real Nebuchadnezzar too. So I think I covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover there, right? So that's what I'm saying. If you get with Suleiman, right, then the flames will not bother you, because we're in the furnace right now. But a lot of you are burning up because you won't pay attention. You're burning up in this furnace. We're in the furnace of America, and you're burning up with these demons and everything else. You're burning up. That was talking about. So I think I unpacked most of what they talk about there. See? So here, the Ancient of Days, America's burned. The ram gets burned up in the furnace. See? That's what the Ancient of Days will set. Right? So, but thrones had to be cast down. That's to my NOI. That's tell you in AL-INJIL. So they're getting ready to be cast down. That's this Legion, Louis Eugene Grounds, NOI backwards. They getting ready to cast. I'd be surprised if they get past June. I think he could write his obituary. I don't think he's gonna get past June. They'll be cast out. June 2021. They're gonna be cast down. And then Suleiman will set. Ancient Days will set. Heads like lamb wool. Farrakhan hair like lamb wool? Is Faraj hair like lamb wool? No, of course not. See, Elijah Muhammad never claimed to be the Ancient of Days. And then at that time, that's when Faraj comes, because he said he comes on the clouds of heaven, right? But everything is given to him. That's what the scripture says. Everything we put under the feet of the Son of God. Who's the Son of God? Suleiman, because God is David. That's why it says he's his father. So he says he's put everything on his foot, and then he turns everything back over to his father. Because that's what says Pharaoh comes on the clouds of heaven. Then it says Suleiman, he's ancient of days. He gives everything back to his father after he took control of everything. See? And that's that time that time the beast is being destroyed. See, that's so Pharaoh shows up. Say, what's holding Pharaoh up? As soon as the ancient of days sets, takes control in the eye, throw his demons out. That's what it says in Mark. It says in AL-INJIL, they're about to be cast out. The Ancient of Days will set. Then Pharaoh will show up. That's during time that the beast is being destroyed. Ram. Okay, brothers and sisters, that pretty much covers it. I had a lot of highlights here. Try to get familiar with Daniel. Like I said, Daniel's a very difficult book. All of them are difficult, right? I don't talk about Daniel very much because he's so much in the AL-INJIL. But a lot of things you can't solve in the AL-INJIL itself, because when it talks about the brass serpent, you can't get that from the AL-INJIL, because brass is not mentioned, explained in the AL-INJIL. It's from Daniel. So sometimes some of those stories you read, right, you need information from Daniel and from the AL-INJIL, because they work together. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. See? Okay, I'm gonna shut it down right here. So hope you understand. Again, if you have any questions, comment me, and I answer, as long as it's respectful, right, and it's genuine. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters.